up, everybody? JT Dangerous here once again. I am here to do my 2019 Stanley Cup Playoffs first round predictions. Now, with the regular season in the books, we are now into my favorite part of the year as an NHL hockey fan, and where it really matters the most, the Stanley Cup Playoffs. And the quest for the Cup begins again, and it starts right here in the first round. So I am very excited to do my Stanley Cup playoff predictions for you guys this year. Last year was so much fun. This year, no different. I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, last year we did fantastic. We went 11-4, and our overall Stanley Cup playoff record is 17-13. So we're coming off a great year last year, and I'm looking to keep it up this year. So hopefully in this video we will continue the winning ways. We're on a one-year winning streak. Hopefully in this video we make it back-to-back winning seasons, hopefully. Now, this is the first of some big videos that will be up on the channel this week, so hopefully you guys will be able to watch all of these videos. Always show your support on all of my videos, as always, by watching those videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your NHL teams in the comment sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, as a first-time viewer, this is your first video, boy, you pick to go in if you're a huge NHL fan like myself, and you're ready for this year's Stanley Cup Playoffs. Welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I am JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is just two. Whoop, whoop. Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these first round predictions. Starting off in the Eastern Conference with the first matchup, pitting the President's Trophy winning Tampa Bay Lightning facing off against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, starting off with the Lightning first, they're coming off a fantastic year this year after falling short in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they're coming in as the President's Trophy winner. And history does not favor them as the President's Trophy winner to win the Stanley Cup, because here's a huge dangerous fact. The last President's Cup Trophy winner to win the Stanley Cup was the 2012 Blackhawks. Since then, President's Cup Trophy winners are 0-5. And the farthest any President's Cup Trophy winner has gone into the playoffs has been the Eastern Conference Finals when the Rangers did it. So Tampa Bay has a huge target on their back this season in one, winning the Stanley Cup, and winning the Stanley Cup as the President's Trophy winner, and ending the President's Trophy winners' drought of 5 years. Now, this squad is still a dangerous squad. You got players like Tyler Johnson, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Ryan McDonough, and their goaltender Andrei Vasilevskiy. But all the pressure is on the Tampa Bay Lightning this season to make it back to the Stanley Cup Finals. The other side of the Columbus Blue Jackets coming off a great year this year, making a repeat trip to the playoffs. They fell short last year to the Washington Capitals in the first round, and they're looking towards this year to be a redemption year, and quite possibly could be the biggest shock of the year. But this Columbus Blue Jackets team is really good. I only know 2 players on this team, Cam Atkinson and Sergei Bobrovsky, but they got some other great players like Josh Anderson, Artemi Panarin, Pierre-Louis Dubois, and Seth Jones. But this Columbus Blue Jackets team is good. They wouldn't have made it back-to-back Stanley Cup playoffs if they weren't good. They scratched and clawed to get this opportunity, and they're looking to make sure that their trip here won't be as short as last year's. So coming from me in this first round matchup in the Eastern Conference, this one could go 6 games, possibly 5, even a sweep. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Nikita Kucherov and the Tampa Bay Lightning to defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets. And now the next matchup, and this first round matchup is going to be good, because if you saw last year's first round matchup between these two, you know this one's going to be a classic. Between 2 original 6 teams, the Boston Bruins facing off against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, we all saw that meeting last year in the first round when it went down to the final game, and Boston defeated Toronto to advance. So this is the much anticipated rematch. Now, starting off with the Bruins first, they're coming into this season very good. I mean, they're coming off their heartbreaking loss in 5 games to the Tampa Bay Lightning last year, and they're looking towards this year to be their year. Now, they got some great players on this team. They haven't really changed in a couple years, where they got Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, Zdeno Chara, Charlie McAvoy, David Krejci, but now they have a dual threat at goaltending with Tuukka Rask and Jaroslav Halak. And the Bruins are looking to continue the Boston magic. Hell, the Patriots winning the Super Bowl this year, the Celtics going into the NBA playoffs this year, the Red Sox looking to defend their World Series crown, and hell, Matt Taven from Boston won the Ring of Honor World title on Saturday in Madison Square Garden. So everything is coming up roses for Boston, and the Bruins are looking to add 1 more rose to that huge bouquet of Boston championships. The other side of the Toronto Maple Leafs coming off their year last year, falling short in the 7th game at home. So you know that one definitely stung last year. But this year's Toronto Maple Leafs team, one of 3 Canadian teams this year, could definitely be the dark horse to quite possibly make the Eastern Conference Finals. And Mike Babcock has done a fantastic job in Toronto with players with John Tavares, who they picked up from the Islanders, Patty Marleau, the former Shark, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley, and their goaltender Frederik Andersen. And they're looking to rectify what happened last year by knocking off the Bruins out of the playoffs this year. So coming from me in this first round matchup, ooh, this one's going to be so good. I can see the series going 7, possibly 6, because these two teams hate each other. There's history here. But coming from me this year, I picked the Bruins last year, so I'm going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs this year to exact their revenge and defeat the Boston Bruins. And now the next matchup, pitting the reigning Eastern Conference champions and the reigning and defending Stanley Cup champions, the Washington Capitals, facing the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, the Washington Capitals are coming off quite possibly their best year last year, winning their franchise's first Stanley Cup championship, and they're coming in as the reigning and defending champions. And they're looking to become only the 2nd team in the Eastern Conference to repeat. The last team to do it, the 2016 and the 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins. And with the lineup they've had this year, they can definitely repeat. From last year, they can definitely repeat this year. Now, players they got on their team, guys like Alexander Ovechkin, who finally won that cup that he has been dying for last year, Nicholas Backstrom, John Carlson, Evgeny Kuznetsov, TJ Oshie, and their goaltender Braden Holtby. But this Capitals team can definitely get it done this season. And with their lineup that they have the playoff experience, they have Stanley Cup Finals experience, they can definitely get it done and maybe make another deep run back to the championship. They're on the other side of the Carolina Hurricanes, making their first trip back to the playoffs for the first time since 2008. It's been a long time for Carolina Hurricanes fans to finally make it back to the playoffs, and they're looking to shock the world by knocking out the Caps and blowing them away like a hurricane. Now, the only players I know on the Carolina Hurricanes team this year are Peter Mrazek, their goaltender, and Jordan Staal. But they got some great players like Sebastian Aho, Justin Williams, Dougie Hamilton, and Nito Niederreiter. And they're looking to, once again, shock the world. A lot of people didn't expect Carolina to be here, but they definitely proved a lot of people wrong, and they're looking to make a huge statement by knocking out the reigning champs. So coming from me in this first round matchup, ooh, this one's going to go 6 games. Possibly 5, but I'm going to go with the reigning Stanley Cup champs, Alexander Ovechkin's Washington Caps, to defeat the Carolina Hurricanes. And now the final first-round matchup in the Eastern Conference, pitting the surprising New York Islanders facing off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Islanders are making their first trip back to the playoffs for the first time since 2015, and this year, a lot of people didn't see them even being here. A lot of people, including myself, didn't think they could win without John Tavares, but they found a way to do it, and they'll be hosting the first home game of this series for the first time since 1988. It's been a while since the Islanders have been a really good team in the playoffs. I mean, they were Stanley Cup champions in the 70s, in the 80s. They were really bad in the 90s, but they finally turned it around this season, and they're looking to, and that place, Nassau Coliseum, is going to be rocking in Game 1 for sure. Now, the players they got on their team are good, like Anders Lee, Brock Nelson, Matthew Barzal, Valtteri Filppula, and their dual threat at goaltending with Thomas Greiss and Robin Leinhart. But this Islanders team is looking to show that, hey, this year was no fluke. They deserve to be in the playoffs, and they're looking to knock off a perennial threat in the Eastern Conference. They're on the other side of the Pittsburgh Penguins coming in. This season has been very, very good to them after their heartbreaking loss to their hated rivals, the Washington Capitals, in the second round last year in 6 games. And they're looking to make another deep run in the playoffs like they always do, with players like Sid the Kid, Phil Kessel, Evgeny Malkin, Patrick Hornquist, Chris Letang, Jake Getzel, and their goaltender Matt Murray. Now, with Pittsburgh, it's either you're going to get a lot from Sid the Kid, or you're going to get a lot of assists from Evgeny Malkin. Jake Getzel was last year's big star, and they're looking to make another deep run in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. So, coming from me in this final first-round matchup in the Eastern Conference, this one's going to be good. I can see the series going 6, possibly 7, even maybe 5, but I'm going to go with Sid the Kid and the Pittsburgh Penguins to defeat the New York Islanders. And now on to the Western Conference with the first round showdown between the Nashville Predators facing off against the Dallas Stars. Now, the Nashville Predators are coming into this season the best team in the Central Division champions, and they're coming in after their heartbreaking 7-game series loss to Winnipeg last year, and they're looking towards this year to be the redemption year and looking to bring back Nashville to Smashville. Now, their squad is pretty solid, the same team we've seen the last couple years with them. Ryan Johansson, PK Subban, Roman Yoshi, Vidkar Advinson, Philip Forsberg, and their great goaltender, Pekka Rinne. And Nashville's looking to do what they did back in 2017 and make a deep run into the playoffs in the Western Conference and quite possibly make it back to the Stanley Cup Championship and win their franchise's first title. They're on the other side of the Dallas Stars making their return back to the playoffs for the first time since 2015. They're looking to win their first playoff series since 2015, and they are former Stanley Cup champions back in 1999 or 2000. But this Dallas Stars team had to fight to get this spot. They were the #1 wild card team, and this team is pretty solid this year with Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Alexander Radulov, excuse me if I'm saying these guys' names wrong, Jason Spezza, Roman Polak, and their goaltender, the former Tampa Bay Lightning goaltender, Ben Bishop. But Dallas Stars are looking to prove that, hey, they deserve to be here. They haven't been here in a long time, and they're looking to make a deep run as the wild card team. So coming from me in this first round matchup in the Western Conference, ooh, this one's going to be good. This one's going to be a good series. I can see the series going 6, possibly 5, but I'm going to go with the Nashville Predators to defeat the Dallas Stars. And now the next matchup, pitting the Winnipeg Jets facing off against the St. Louis Blues. Now, starting off with the Winnipeg Jets first, they're coming off their fantastic year last year. They were the Cinderella team in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs when they made it all the way up to the Western Conference Finals last year. Nobody expected to see them there. They're the second of the 3 Canadian teams that are in this year's playoffs. And the Jets are looking to fly high once again and make another deep run this year. Now, the players they have are still the team that got them to the Western Conference Finals last year, like Blake Wheeler, Mark Scheifele, Dustin Byfuglien, Kyle Connor, Patrick Lane, and their goaltender, Connor Hellebuck. But this Jets team was really the big shock of last year. A lot of people didn't even see Winnipeg even making it to the Western Conference Finals, but they proved a lot of people wrong. And looking to show that last year was no joke. This year they're a legit team and they can be a legit threat in the Western Conference. They're on the side of the St. Louis Blues making their return to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. And the Blues are looking to make another deep run into the playoffs. Now, they got some great players like Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen, Vladimir Tarasenko, David Perron, and their dual-threaded goaltending, Jake Allen and Jordan Binghamton. So they can go either way with those goaltenders. But this Blues team is looking to knock out last year's Cinderella story in Winnipeg and make a deep run back to the Western Conference Finals, which that was the last time they were there. So coming from me in this first-round matchup, this one's going to go 6. This one could go 6, possibly 7. But I'm going to go with the Winnipeg Jets to defeat the St. Louis Blues. And now the next matchup, pitting the Pacific Division champions, the Calgary Flames, facing off against the Colorado Avalanche. Now, the Calgary Flames are making their first trip back to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, and they're this year's Pacific Division champions. A lot of people didn't expect them to be here, and this is the third of the 3 Canadian teams in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs, and they could be the team that could end the longest streak for it comes to Canadians. A Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup. It's been since '93. Since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup, the 93 Canadiens. So it's been more than 20 years since a Canadian team has won the Cup. And this Calgary Flames team could be the team that could finally get that title back to the North. Now, you got some great players on this team like Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, Elias Lindholm, Matthew Tkachuk, Matt Giordano, and their goaltender David Rittich. If I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize because I haven't watched a lot of Calgary Flame games. But this Calgary Flame squad can definitely get it done. This is the first time back in the playoffs in 3 years, which is crazy to think that. And they can definitely make a deep run this year. The other side, you have the Colorado Avalanche making a repeat trip to the playoffs after their loss to the Nashville Predators last year. And they're looking to win their first playoff series since 2007. And this is another team that fought and clawed to get this wild card spot, and they definitely earned it. They have been the hottest team right now in the NHL in the Western Conference. And you got some great players on this team, like Nathan MacKinnon, like Gabriel Landeskog, Tyson Barrie, Carl Soderberg, Mikko Rantanen, and their goaltender Semyon Varlamov. And this Avalanche team is looking to make a deep run. They really haven't been the same team since Joe Sakic and Peter Budaj was there when they were winning the Stanley Cup. But this Colorado Avalanche team is hungry, and they're looking to make a deep run this year. So coming from me in this first round matchup, I think Colorado could be the sleeper pick to win this series. I can see the series going 6, possibly 7, but coming from me, I got to go with the Calgary Flames to defeat the Colorado Avalanche. And now the final first round matchup in the Western Conference is the one I have been waiting for, pitting the Vegas Golden Knights, the Western Conference champions, facing off against a team that I bleed teal 365. They are my San Jose Sharks. Now, we all remember the meeting last year in the second round where Vegas defeated my San Jose Sharks to go on to win the Western Conference and also be the runner-up in the Stanley Cup Finals. So this is the much-anticipated rematch. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights are coming off, quite possibly, the greatest first year any hockey team has ever had. They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year in the league. That's crazy. That has never happened. But now it's their second year in the league. Last year was a magical season. Now we're going to see if this year could be another Cinderella story, or was last year just a glimpse of what they had and they finally had it, but they didn't get the job done. But we're going to see if lightning can strike twice for this Golden Knights squad. They got a great squad this year. The same squad we saw face the Capitals in the finals last year with Jonathan Marchand, William Karlsson, Max Pacioretty, Shea Theodore, Paul Stastny, the former Colorado Avalancher, and their goaltender who has playoff Stanley Cup experience, Marc-Andre Fleury. But I know a lot of people are picking the Vegas Golden Knights to quite possibly remain the Western Conference champions, but it will not be easy this year. Then on the other side, you have my San Jose Sharks coming off their loss to the Vegas Golden Knights last year. But this year's Sharks team is stacked. Holy shit, this team is stacked this year. You got some of the best players like Jumbo Joe Thornton, the Big Joe Pavelski, Tomas Hertl. You got the newest addition to the Sharks squad, Erik Karlsson, who we picked up in Ottawa during the trade deadline, which was a huge move for the Sharks because Sharks don't make big moves like this. We got Evander Kane, who we picked up from Buffalo, Logan Couture, Jonas Donskoy, Chewbacca himself, Brett Burns, and our fantastic goaltender, Marty Jones. And we're looking to make a deep run back. We're looking to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 3 years. We have always been the team that's always fell short. But I kind of feel like this season is our year. And we're going to start by knocking off the reigning Western Conference champions. So coming from me in this final first round matchup in the Western Conference in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs, this is going to go 6, possibly 7. But you already know, I'm taking my San Jose Sharks to defeat the Vegas Golden Knights. And those are my Stanley Cup playoffs first round predictions. Now I want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below, who do you have winning in the first round of this year's Stanley Cup playoffs? Do you see any upsets happening? Let me know how many games will it take for all of these teams to win their series. And let me know who you got winning the Stanley Cup this year. And as always, represent your team in the comment section. Even if they didn't make the playoffs this year, still represent them. Let's have a conversation about them. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course reply right back to you because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Now, before you guys go, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with your friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. And of course, you guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous Dangerous Alliance, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for my first round predictions for this year's NBA playoffs and my Ring of Honor's Masters of the Craft Columbus 2019 predictions. Later days, guys, and peace. The quest for the cup begins now.